went in one of the seminars that was run by Lieutenant Colonel Grossman.
All
right.
On killing. So, holy shit. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
What a great dude. And he kind of opened my eyes as far as
Hey, Matt Patrick Kelly here. Welcome to the Knight's Path podcast. This is our first episode ever. The Knight's Path for me is my self journey towards mastery in my physical, my mental, and my spiritual selves. And when I'm talking about a Knight's Path, it's my martial way, which is firearms, empty hands, and weapons other than firearms to provide products and services that benefit humanity. And it is my super honor and privilege to have my first guest ever on this podcast. He's a bro. He's a best friend. He's a hero of mine. He's a mentor. He's a former martial arts student of mine. He's a former workout buddy of mine. He's a thin blue line brother. We're going to call him for this episode Billy D. And the reason for that, he's recently retired out of law enforcement, but he's also very tight with his community up there, and he's got active duty brothers, and we're going to protect names and departments and all that stuff, but we're going to have a kick-ass interview. Love this man. Without further ado, Billy D, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks a lot for thinking about me and having me on your very first podcast, man. That's an honor.
Hey, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's amazing. You know, we won't talk about where you ended up, but, you know, you and I go way back to the Dallas PD days, and we'll certainly talk about some Dallas days. And then kind of from there, you know, where you went back up to your home and stuff like that. But you and I know each other. We go back a long ways. But, you know, for the audience, just kind of tell us, you know, where you grew up, what part of the country you grew up in, Bill, what sports you were into, where you went to college, what you studied in college, what made you decide to become a freaking police officer and bring your Northern Yankee ass down all the way to Texas, Dallas, Texas, and become 5-0. Walk us through it, buddy.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm a Northern Minnesota boy. So born and raised up this way. And played a lot of sports growing up. So all through, I started playing hockey when I was 3 years old. As soon as I could, you know, stand up on skates, and that was kind of my main sport that I really loved to play. So hence kind of the hockey hair I have grown out now that I've been retired. So got that still going on. In high school, I was one of the that they don't have very much anymore, the 3 sport athletes, you know, where you play something in the fall, something in the winter, and then something in the spring. So I did 3 sports, and at sometimes I was doing 4 because I was running some track and field stuff early on in, you know, like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. And then as I got older, then I kind of transitioned from the spring track to baseball. But I continued to play baseball growing up, a lot of summer leagues. So I did that. And then in the fall, it was football. Played football, was a quarterback. So I played that throughout my 4 years, or not 9th grade, I guess, 9, 10, 11, 12. Winter again was hockey, so that's huge. Love playing hockey. I was fortunate enough to play on the varsity team as a freshman all the way through my senior year, so that was a huge honor. And then again, in springtime comes, you're playing baseball. When I got done with high school, then I wanted to continue playing hockey, so I chose a college. You got recruited by just a D3 college. Chose them to go play hockey, and so I continued my career in hockey, and then studied at college there. I was trying to get who knows what kind of degree to start out with, but I ended up with a business degree.
Yeah.
And then I had a minor in health. So I really enjoyed, being healthy and or studying about health, how to remain healthy. And then, of course, the physical fitness part of it, being an athlete my whole career or life, just trying to maintain that health. So that was my minor, was health. Got done with college and then started dabbling, trying to figure out where I was going to fit in the world working. And I tried the retail world of, actually went to, I'll even name it. I went to Foot Locker and went through their management program, right? So here I was stuck inside every day, selling shoes and some sporting goods stuff. And I thought, man, this ain't for me, sitting inside. I got to do something different every day. And growing up, I had a few people I knew who were in law enforcement, but I was intrigued me, but I never really seriously thought about it. So then, when I got to college, I thought about it, but it was like, studying laws and stuff like that kind of scared me away. It was just like, I don't know if I'm cut out to do that or study that. So I just never got into it. And then when I figured out the Foot Locker and the business part of it wasn't for me, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll dabble in that. So I started looking and I figured out I'd have to go back to school if I was going to stay up here in Minnesota to get a degree to become a police officer. So I sought out of the state, figure out where I wanted to go. So I had applied down in Dallas, Texas. I applied in Houston, Texas. I applied out in Prince William County in Virginia, way out on the East Coast. So Dallas came calling first. So I flew out there and did a bunch of testing and interviewing and passed all that. And pretty soon there I was moving down to Dallas, Texas to start their police academy.
That's it, man. Yeah, so I never, it's interesting, we've known each other for 29 years. And it's interesting to do interviews like this because you might learn something that you didn't know before. Hell, I never knew you played quarterback, so that was cool for me. Now, being a jock your whole life, and you learning how to skate since you were 3. Doesn't surprise me that, you started varsity, hockey your freshman year. And then all those other 4 years. But when in college or in high school, were you ever like team captain of your hockey leagues or any of your sports teams?
Yeah, we had like selected captainship, but it wasn't always necessarily the same person all the time.
Right.
So we had different leaders selected for a period of time that the coaches wanted. For whatever reason, they didn't have a select person, and that was the person the whole year type of thing. So we had really good the class that I grew up with. We were very athletic class, very close class. So we were all tight with each other. So there was no real one leader of all it. We were all kind of leaders and just kind of brought everybody along with us. So
that's a good tactic from a coaching standpoint, to kind of rotate and let everybody have a chance of leadership. And there'll be a reason why I asked you that question, because I think, you being an athlete your whole life, and then maybe from a young age, kind of having that leadership and that team quality, I'm going to want to get into that later, because I think it'd be good for the audience when we kind of get into some of your later law enforcement career and some of the outstanding work you've done there. But yeah, Dallas Police Academy, that's kind of where I step in. So you were in class 232, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yep. And I was in class 230. So You were 2 classes behind me, so we were at the academy the same time. And then I ended up going to Northeast. You ended up being a rookie at Northeast, just maybe a month or two behind me. Now in class at the Dallas Police Academy, this is kind of ode to Bill being a jock, and then I was a pretty good in shape jock myself back then. But back in the Dallas Police Academy, we had the PT test at the end of the academy, and it was the Cooper's physical fitness test. And if you got 100 or better on the Cooper's, you got your name on a plaque in the academy, in the halls. And in my class, we had 5 people that got 100 or better on the Cooper's test. And I got my name on the plaque, but then, we all thought we were hot shit. And then here comes class 232. And you bastards, you had more guys in any academy class ever in the history of the Dallas Police Department that all got, you had like a record number of people that got 100. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. I guess I don't remember exactly how many of us got it. But we had a lot of them. It was very competitive.
Yeah, y'all had some freaking jocks. There was 5 on mine. I think we graduated 68 or something like that, 72. And we only had 5 that got. And you guys were just a jock friggin' athletic class.
Well, we had some athletes that went to college and played D1 football and ran track and field. And we just had some guys that, played college sports. So, that was huge for, everybody pushed everybody.
Yeah, it was good times. That was a great academy. It was 6 months and 3 weeks long back in the day when you and I did it. From what I remember back then, Dallas PD was in kind of a pissing match with the LAPD. And if the LAPD had an academy that was, because our police chief at the time, Rathburn, he came from LA. And from what I understand, what I remember is if the Dallas Police Academy was 6 months and 1 week long, and the LA Police Academy found out and they made their academy 6 months and 2 weeks long, then Dallas was like, screw you, we're going to make our 6 months and 3 weeks long. So there's like this pissing contest between whose academy was longer. But 6 months and 3 weeks was a long damn time. But we were in great shape, and we came really well prepared. You and I both went to Northeast Patrol Division where we worked. And one thing you and I are kind of talking about the other day, I kind of want to bring this up, was back when Bill and I, and this is 92 is when we were hitting the streets in Dallas. We actually had a friggin' paddy wagon. We had like this ice cream truck looking thing. It was like a Dodge Ram dually with this big metal cage in the back, and it was a paddy wagon. And when you were a rookie, once a week you were on paddy wagon duty, and you just drive around the whole patrol division, and then people would throw their prisoners in the back and you take them to jail, or it was mainly used for the drunk tank. But hell, there's not a whole lot of cops nowadays that can say or I drove a paddy wagon around. You and I have that distinct honor to have driven that hunk of shit around, and it got smelly as crap in the back, hauling drunks around. But that was a good memory. So I'll kind of tell a story on me, and then I'm gonna we'll talk to Bill about this. But didn't really know Bill. I knew Bill passing him in the academy, but he was at my patrol division. My locker row was in the very back of the lockers. So I would pass all these different rows to get to my locker in the back. And Bill's locker row was a row or two, probably 2 or 3 rows before I got to mine. I'm getting ready to go to work one day. I'm passing, and I look down, just kind of looking at people saying hello or whatever. I look down Bill's locker row. He's getting ready to go get dressed for work, and he has his shirt off. And I remember looking, and friggin' Bill just looked like a Roman breastplate with his shirt off. I mean, he just friggin' chiseled and cut, and abs and shoulders like balls of just hard muscle. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, and I remember walking, and I was like, did a double take, and I know this is kind of homosexual, Bill, but you know, I was like, did a double take. I was looking at your chest, and I'm walking back, and I'm like, I want that friggin' guy to be my workout partner. He obviously knows what the hell he's doing, you know. So at that point on, I'm like, I need to make friends with that guy. I'm gonna bug him until I can become his workout partner. I don't remember how the hell I bullied you or strong armed you or wooed you to let me become your workout partner, but boy, you let me become your workout partner. And shit, man, you put me through the friggin' ringer, dude. We would work out at Gold's Gym before we hit the streets. And I remember the two worst days that you would put me through were shoulder day and friggin' leg day. And like I couldn't even lift my arms. I'm like, how am I going to be able to arrest somebody? You put me through the torture test there, Bill. But let's kind of talk about what your workout goals were then. Because back then I wanted to lift the house, and now I just want some functional fitness as an older man. But just kind of walk me through as a man what your goals were workout wise then, being a young rookie cop, and what your goals were, and then just kind of how they evolved through your middle age and to where you are now. Because from what I understand, you still get up at the crack ass of dawn and work out to this day. So walk us through that, Bill.
You know, mainly it's just because you're an athlete, so you just got to stay in your shape and want to be in some kind of shape. You know, upper body strength, good leg strength, especially you know in hockey. You have good leg strength and good upper body strength and stuff. So keeping that fit all the time was just something that I did because once I get done with college and that I still continued to play hockey. I would look up and try to play rec hockey wherever I could. And it started up pretty big down in Dallas when I got down there too. So you know, I just continued it. But just kind of one side note, though, you talked about our shoulder workout. I know I separated my shoulder playing college hockey one year, and you know, I was out for a while. And then when it healed up, man, I pounded the crap out of my shoulders. And so that's why you got the brunt of our shoulder workouts, because it was like I was never going to have another separated shoulder. Didn't dislocate it, just separated it, you know, and I got hit hard enough. But so I just wanted that strong shoulder and chest. And so I was like, that's never happened to me again.
God, those are
you know, back then you couldn't gain weight if you tried. I mean, you eat everything and try to eat healthy stuff. And you know, it was stuck at whatever weight you were at. And I can remember trying to gain weight, but never did. So it was just like, okay, well, we're just going to be, you know, kind of that chiseled look as you described it, I guess. Yeah. And so I just continued to stay in shape. And then, you know, as I got into my 30s, then I decided that, you know what, I want to see if I can put some size on. You know, I want to put 20, 25 pounds on and start trying to lift that house, so to speak, like you don't want to lift a house. So I inquired one of our just old time guy back home here, power lifter. I said, hey, what do we need to do? You know what? He goes, well, if you want to get big, he goes, you're going to have to lift big. I'm like, okay. So he gave me some programs and stuff, and I worked out with him during the day at the local high school gym where he was in there instructing high school kids, and he allowed me to come in there with him. And lo and behold, I was able to put 20, 25 pounds on, and I started to lift that house, you know, the bench press weighing up. You know, the legs were phenomenal, and the back and everything just came together. And then, you know, then I hit my 40s, and I was just like, all right, you know, I'm getting older, and I just don't want to have to lift all that heavy weight anymore. So I started implement more cardio into my workouts, and lighter weights and cardio. And then I slimmed back down to basically my same weight that I went to the academy in.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that now since, you know, through my 40s, and now I'm in my 50s, and it's just doing the cardio and doing some just some maintenance and lifting just to try and stay and look good and feel good about yourself. And just we're going to continue to do that until I can't do it anymore, I guess, because that's that mentality of, being an athlete.
Yep.
And just want to continue till I can't do it anymore, which will probably be the day before I die or whatever it's going to be.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's easier to stay in shape than get in shape, right? And I know a lot of guys that are, middle-aged that are like, crap, I wish I would have kept it up. Hell, I let myself go for a little bit when I started the job I'm at now, and I was traveling a lot and driving a lot, and man, it caught up to me, and I'm like, woo, so a lot harder to try to burn that crap off and let yourself go. Thanks for walking us through that, Billy. That's I had a buddy of mine that's a power lifter, and he did strongman competitions. He was half my age when I was doing my elite few stuff, my firearms, empty hands, and weapons other than firearms. I was 48, he was 24, and he's this big old huge kid, strong as an ox. I'll probably have him on this podcast, talk about some of that stuff. But he's like, yeah, if you want to start trying to lift a house, we can get you big. And I'm like, I think I'll do like more higher reps and try to cut more. And I don't want to, pop my sinew and gristle and all that stuff, trying to lift something super heavy. But all right, when you left Dallas, you went back up in north, and you worked for a couple PDs. You ended up landing, where you ended up retiring from, but you held a bunch of different positions there. And then kind of talk about that, and then let's get into the SWAT and ERT career, because for those of you that don't know, SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics, special unit with police departments. ERT, Emergency Response Team, they're basically the same thing. ERTs generally have a medic on their entry teams that can apply first aid to victims or bad guys after they get injured, or to officers that may get injured. That's kind of the differentiation there. But yeah, Bill, from what I know two or three different things that you've done, as well as patrol. But yeah, walk us through that, and then let's kind of land on that 24-year mark that I know about.
All right. Well, majority of my career has been patrol, and that was where my love was, just going out and answering calls and responding to calls and stuff like that. So I just continued to do that. But as when you're at a smaller department that ended up, we were just over, I think, about 109 officer department. So it's not super huge, but so you got to wear many hats. So I started to, I'll even back up a little bit. Before I left Dallas, I became a PR-24 instructor. Okay. So that intrigued me when I was in the academy to teach that. I also was interested in defensive tactics stuff. And that kind of got into when me and you did a lot of martial arts stuff. You were teaching me in martial arts. So that helped down there, that I brought up here. So I did the PR-24, and then we didn't carry one up here. We went to the AS baton. So I went to school, became an AS baton instructor. So I was teaching that. And then I went to school and became a defensive tactics instructor. So I trained men and women in our department throughout that, along with, so wear that hat, and then the hat in the evening, and you put on, you go out on patrol. Yeah. We did the firearms, became a firearms instructor. That stemmed from Dallas too. When I went through the academy, really loved the firearms portion of it, did really well there. Ended up number 1 in my class in the firearms. So I credit the firearms instructors that were out there, and I wanted to instill that on the people I work with. So up here, then I became a firearms instructor. I did go into the drug task force for a while. So it was somewhere between 2 to 3 years I was in that. So I was undercover stuff doing that. So I grew out the goatee. I had longer hair than I got right now, and and kind of off the grid stuff, hanging out with the scum of the earth and buying drugs from them, and making cases and doing all that stuff. I worked in our courts system as far as doing civil type papers and or warrants. I even did a bunch of, we had some high profile cases that my supervisors handpicked me for to be in the courtroom for, whether they're murder cases or just other high profile type cases that they wanted to know that, I don't know, it made me feel good that they chose me to take control of the courtroom, make sure that it would stay safe and then on the right path to, the court. I think what else? Of course, then at some point, then I got selected for our emergency response team. So, and that was a huge goal of mine going into law enforcement, which I ended up getting into and staying quite a few years in.
Yeah. So you were, I guess it's basically 2.5 decades or something like that, but you were a team lead, right? For how many years?
22 years of the 24 years that I was in part of our emergency response team, I was team leader.
So team leader, man, team leader for 22 years as a SWAT operator, man. That's badass, bro. And kind of tell you remind me how team leaders get chosen. It's by the guys themselves, right? And then, or is it the commanders? Who chooses?
The team does, and then of course, command also has some input on it, and then they vote. So it's kind of a popularity vote, but not. I mean, as a team, they want somebody they believe that they'll lead them in the right direction, and who they feel confident can do not only the SWAT job or ERT job, but lead people on different missions that we go on. So
so as a team leader, how many you probably were you entry team? How many guys did you have? Kind of walk the folks through what a high speed low drag Billy D badass team leader ERT does as a team leader, because that's an honor for your guys in the leadership to have it. But then also you've got to have some trust in your guys as well, because you got to put these certain players in place. And when I was on the ERT, I was the slammer. I was the number one guy to knock, break the door. And then I became the number two guy, became the number one guy in, and I was the number two guy in. And, I was lucky to be picked for that. I felt like that was an honor. Hey, Matt, be this guy. Okay, I will, boss. But I would have gone to the gates of hell for you too, if you were my team leader. So kind of walk us through how many guys you had and what some of your responsibilities are, because that's some real world operator shit, man.
Right. Our the department I worked at, the sheriff's department, that we have some bigger cities in it, but a lot of it's rural. So we had a pretty big team because of that. And the reason was because we're so spread out that, so we had to have lots of guys available, because you never knew where any of the calls could be. And we could get a page in the middle of the night and it'd be an hour drive for me to get to it, and on some guys less. So to be able to get people there quicker and number wise, we had lots of guys scattered out throughout the county. So we had probably anywhere between 15 to 18 entry people on the team at any given time. We'd have, when I left, we had 5 negotiators, we had 5 snipers, Our negotiations, of course, weren't part of the tactical part of the team, but they're part of the team nonetheless. We'd had 3 commanders, so 3 different guys that are command. We had tactical dispatchers that were assigned to us, so they would actually run the radio comms wherever we were at. We had, of course, our medics, and they were from a local fire department where they came from, and they went through tactical medical school training to get certified or whatever they had to do. It's just phenomenal. And some of those guys have been in the desert, so they're military people that have gone over, so they've seen combat, they've seen injuries and wounds and stuff, and know a lot about that. So we still have great confidence in them and what they can do for us. Yeah. I think who else? I wasn't the only team leader on the team. We had, of course, because we were spread out, you never knew if I was going to always be available or if somebody else. So we had anywhere from 3 to 5 of us at any given point over the 20 some years that I was there that were team leaders. So, if I was out of town or not able to make it, or I wasn't going to get there for an hour, there was another team leader that was closer. So he kind of took some of the lead before any of the other leaders would get there, before you made a perimeter squad up or a entry team together or whatever you were doing.
It's cool. So regular entry team, was it 8-5? Did it depend on who showed up, and then you as the team leader had to go, shoot, we just got 5, we're going to make it work, or we got to wait for our full? And I guess it would depend on the situation, of course, if you had to go earlier or not. I get that, but perfect world, what's a full strength entry team that you're leading, Bill?
Well, of course, it all depends on what kind of scenario you're out on, really. I mean, yeah, for what you're going to do. But our main goal was, when we got there, is you got a hasty team together, and they were our entry people, and we got them into the perimeter and up close to the house or building or wherever we were at right away. So that way, if something happened, guy gave up or he started doing something that we needed to get into that building right away, then they were already there and in place. And then as other people showed up, then you would get your entry team together and then start to make a plan. And then just depending on if you needed, it'd be nice to have 8, 9, 10 guys to go, at least go do an entry. You'd start picking from that hasty team. It'd be like, okay, here's our plan. We'll pick you up while we're going by it to the house or whatever we're going to do. Or, we have them back themselves out and, boost it up with maybe some patrol guys or something that were out there to tighten the perimeter up a little bit to get up there with the hasty team, if we're going to pick 1 or 2 guys off of that. Oh,
cool stuff, man. I wish, man, if I go back in time, a dream of mine, bro, would have been for us to be on the same team, man. That would have been, that might have been bad. That might have been bad. That might have been really good. It would have been fun as hell no matter what. I love that stuff. When I talk about the physical, the mental, and the spiritual journey I'm on now to try to become whole and healthy and seek mastery, for me, a lot of times when I was this physical phenom as a cop, I had holes in my mental game, and I had to shore shit up and learn stuff as I became a more mature man. But I tried to hide a lot of my stuff with the physical, just to have this rough, tough exterior, don't mess with me, I got all my shit together appearance. But mentally, how did you deal with stress, Bill? Because you did it so many more decades than me. But how did you deal with stress? And I imagine, like for most of us, it was working your ass off out in the gym, and you would listen to some crazy rock ass music, bah, 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 You know, that's how you're dealing with stress. But you know, anything else other than hitting the gym like a friggin' animal? How'd you do mentally with the stress, bro?
You know, I learned. I went to our SWAT association, local SWAT association up here. I went to a seminar early on in my career, and I met and went in one of the seminars that was run by Lieutenant Colonel Grossman.
Mm.
All right.
On killing.
So,
holy shit. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
What a great dude. And he kind of opened my eyes as far as, you know, mental preparation and just the things you go through and how to deal with it. And one of the biggest things I took from it was his tactical breathing.
Yeah.
So, you know, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then 4 more seconds. And then, you know, so doing that. So I was able, and I tested it. You know, I take my blood pressure or something and it would be up, and then I do that tactical breathing or something, and I take my blood pressure again and it'd be way down. It's just like, well, this shit works, you know?
Yeah.
So,
dude, I didn't know you met him, man. That's badass. You were in one of his classes. That's cool as shit, man.
Yeah. It was pretty eye opening. I mean, I had a lot of questions of just things I saw and did in law enforcement up to that point. It was just like, you know, should I be feeling different about things, or, you know, I mean, it's not that I was having a hard time with the things I saw or did, but it was just like, should I be or shouldn't I be, or am I okay that I'm not? You know, it was one of those deals where it's like, you know, am I some kind of psycho because it didn't bother me?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And it's funny you say it, because I just did a video for on box breathing or tactical breathing, and it's, you know, autogenic breathing, I think is the official term. But yeah, it's that 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold at the bottom, and then, you know, I like to do 5 seconds, because really I'm only taking, you know, if you think that whole rotation's 20 seconds, but, you know, yeah, it's amazing. Just like you said, like when I go to the dentist and they're going to take my blood pressure, I'm like, you know, your blood pressure's a little high, Mr. Kelly. And then, like, we're going to take it a few more minutes. I'm box breathing the whole time, or I'm doing tactical breathing, just, and then, like, okay, you're fine. We can start ripping your teeth out now. But yeah, it's served me well. But no, that's awesome. That's how you dealt with stress. So how do you know, spirit? So for me, spiritual means a couple of things. Spiritual means my spirit, keeping a positive can-do attitude, not letting negativity come in, having that positive mind frame and mindset, and you know, I'm going to win no matter what, even when old Murphy's Law shows up, right? How did you mentally, like, your positive game? What did you do for that?
You know, it's the same. It's just, you know, the never give up attitude type of thing. So if, you know, you mental role play whatever situation you were either driving to or in, you know, just you played the worst case scenario in your head, you know, and this is how I'm going to deal with it. So then when you got there or you were dealing with it, that if it did go to that, you weren't like, holy crap, that just happened. It was just like, yep, you know, that, hey, I planned for that. And this is what I already knew what I was going to do.
Yeah, visualizations is key, man. Absolutely. And it trains your subconscious. Right. So when you deal with something consciously, no, that's awesome. That's a great way to deal with it. Plus, I think your athleticism and your athletics growing up your whole life, you know, you have that, hey, we're going to win, you know, or hey, the chips are down. We're still going to put forth 100% effort, all those things, right?
Right. So that's the way you carry yourself, the way you look. So, and a lot of reason why I stayed physically fit, because, you know, as well as I do, that when you show up, those bad guys are buying you up. They're sizing you up. Do you look like a slob? Is your shirt coming out and in your your belt sagging off you and your big gut hanging over the belt and blah, 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 you know, and you got food all down your shirt or something.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sizing you up. So
Yeah.
when you go there, you have that good professional attitude, and you know, you look like you're in good shape. And I mean, it's not like you're just being this badass person there, but you're confident, and you know, they're just like, hey, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy. I mean, you don't have to talk down to people, just talk to people, you know, listen to them, you know, and things went really well for me throughout my career doing that, you know, just keeping in shape and being confident, and then going in there and being able to talk to somebody and make the situation better and clean it up and be done with it. Move on to the next one.
Versus having, you know, white powdered donut all over your blue uniform and you're a fat slob and you're talking down to somebody. They're like, I'm about to whoop your ass, fat man. Right. So, all right. One other thing on spiritual, and then we'll kind of close it out here. So for me, there were several times when, like, no shit, God, a guardian angel, something whispered in my ear and saved my ass. And like, there was certainly divine intervention that happened to me in Dallas. One particular time, I remember I was a one-man unit. I normally partnered with a guy 4 days out of the week. One day out of the week, I was a one-man unit, and I had it was like a felony stop, something like that. Well, it wasn't a felony stop. I take that back, because, you know, they just ran a stop sign or something. I lit them up. They pull over. I'm a one-man unit, you know, there's just one guy in the car. I'm getting ready to walk up, and something said, dude, don't wait for backup. Wait for backup. Something just made me say, wait for backup. And I started watching him, and I noticed he was really eyeing me in the side mirror, you know, his driver's door mirror, and he was really, really interested in my approach. And I saw him eyeballing me, and I kind of drew my gun. I stepped back and I call on the radio, and then I just see this guy start doing some furtive gestures and stuff. And backup shows up. We get him out of the car. Man, he had a friggin' loaded, you know, revolver, you know, .357 that he obviously had in his lap. And he was waiting for me to walk up on him. But then when he saw me draw my gun, and then backup came, and he's like, he's trying to hide that weapon. Like, oh man. But I was like, that was some divine intervention. You know, it happened more than once where I was like, woo. But, you know, I certainly believe in the man upstairs, and I listened you know, to that little subtle voice and as many instincts as I could that were out there. But do you have anything like that? I'm sure you have a bazillion of them. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but do you have anything like that similar?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I remember being on many hot type calls where, you know, you listen before you knock on a door or approach or watch from a distance what's going on before you approach, and that's pretty standard. But there's just times where you like you said, where you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, maybe we better step back. I only have one incident, I guess, in where I chose to wear my weapon off duty a certain place, and then short time after that, I ended up in a deadly force confrontation. And that was one of the times where it was just like, man, if I would have wore my weapon in a place where I would normally keep it, I might not have won this. You know, so I mean, that was probably the one time where I thought about it afterwards, just like, wow, what made me do that? I hadn't done that in a long time.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I know that story, brother. I know that story. And that's certainly, I'm glad you said that, because for me, that was the big man upstairs putting a bug in your ear and like making you wear something in a different spot, in a different place than you normally did, which wasn't your normal habit. But man, that was, yeah, it's amazing. All right, I'm going to close this up with one of my favorite memories of you. And it wasn't when we were police officers on duty. but we were police officers and we were playing tackle football with the Northeast patrol team, right? And my partner at the time, Scott S., and he was a former tight end that played college football in Texas, bigger than me. I was 6'2", probably 205. Scott was probably 6'3", 225, 215, and I'm probably 225, 230 maybe, but he was jacked, man. And you were on my team, and I think you and I were working out already, and we might have been doing some martial arts together. But you were on my team and Scott was on the other team, and he got the ball and he's got to run. You're playing like middle linebacker. And he's got to run by you, and he tried to go by you, and we're all wearing like ripped, jerseys that won't rip off and stuff. And he ran by you, and you just like stuck out a mitt, and you grabbed the collar of that friggin' jersey, and he just like, and then you just held it like a friggin' metal post, and then his body's slinging around you like a tether ball, and then slowly his ass is grinding into the grass. And I'm like, that's my workout partner, Bill, and like Scott was like, stinking Bill, God dang, gonna clothesline me. And he was all whining and stuff, but I was like, that's my bro, that's my workout partner, strong as hell. Loved it, man. Loved it. That was great. Well, Billy, thanks for being on here, bro. Thanks for being on here. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the storytelling. I appreciate the shares. I got to learn some stuff about you I didn't know before. And most of all, thanks for being on my very first podcast, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And I would like to tell one story, and this is probably how we became the bros that we are, I guess.
Tell it.
And well, and I won't get into the whole details. It all has to do with my deadly force incident that I was involved in. And prior to that, we'd become friends, and we were working out and stuff like that. We'd been on calls together and done some stuff. So getting to know each other, and then now I'm off duty and I get involved in a deadly force confrontation, and you're able to call a buddy officer to come help you kind of get through it and just be there for you. So after my incident, sitting in the squad car, and I looked over the sergeant and I said, yeah, I like to get a companion officer out here. My buddy called, I want Matt Kelly out here. And they were like, okay. And when you showed up, it just, there was a zillion things going through your mind after one of those. And when you showed up, just the big bear hug and made everything's going to be just fine. Take care of me, watching out for me, because you're kind of at that vulnerable state for a while, after the incident. So you're just there watching out, bringing me where I need to go, getting me anything I need. And then after that, of course, just the follow up and checking in on him after it. So, that was kind of the solidification of our friendship and our brotherhood. When you showed up and you just showed me all the love and respect you had for me after that incident.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, and thanks a lot, man.
Hey, bro, absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, in the law enforcement community, or at least one thing the Dallas Police Department did really great back then, I'm sure other departments do it, but if an officer got in a really crazy altercation or situation or deadly force situation, then the officer that was involved could call a companion officer of his choice to come, go through the process with him. And Bill called me, and it was a friggin' great honor. And we just really solidified everything for us from then on. Great honor. And no shit, Bill's my hero, man. He's my hero, and he's also happens to be my best friend. And I'm blessed to know him. He's a great human being. I love you, buddy. Thanks for being a part of this. And can't wait to see you again. I'm either going to drive my ass up there, or you're going to come down here, and we're going to go shoot some steel on the backside of my property. All right?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
All right, buddy. You bring the whiskey this
All
time.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Bye.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, bro. Bye.